10 0.5. And finally, the answer will be positive 1718 joule per mole, or we convert it into the standard unit, kilojoule per mole, to 1.7 kilojoule per mole. So this indicates that energy is required for glucose 6-phosphate to be converted to fructose 6-phosphate. Hence, it is not spontaneous, since it is positive. When it's positive, it is not spontaneous. Okay, so let's carry on with the next subtopic, which is the metabolism. Metabolism is the totality of an organism's chemical reactions. A metabolic pathway is a series of interconnected biochemical reactions that convert a substrate molecule step by step through a series of metabolic intermediates, eventually yielding products. Each step is catalyzed by a specific enzyme, and there are two types of metabolism, which is exergonic, which releases energy, and endergonic, which uses energy. So if we see here, through the cellular respiration, the glucose will be used for metabolism and will produce ATP or energy, H2O, water, and carbon dioxide as a product. Remember when I said that each step is catalyzed by a specific enzyme? A starting molecule will undergo 3 reactions that will be catalyzed by 3 types of enzyme, different enzyme, which is specifically used for that reaction. And here is the overall metabolic pathways in our body. Okay, so there are 2 types of metabolism, which is exergonic and endergonic. For the exergonic, it proceeds with a net release of free energy and is spontaneous, meaning to say that it releases energy and doesn't need energy, hence it's spontaneous. It undergoes catabolism, where it breaks down complex molecules into simpler ones. So an example for exergonic metabolism or catabolism is food digestion. When we eat carbohydrates, we will get simple sugars such as glucose. And for the standard energy change, it is less than 0 or negative value. Also stating that it is a spontaneous process. So for the free energy reactants here, which has a lot of free energy, after undergoing the reaction, energy will be produced as well as the product. The product will have a lower amount of free energy as an amount of energy are released. As for the metabolism or the endergonic reaction, it absorbs free energy from its surroundings and is non-spontaneous, meaning that it uses energy, and the standard free energy change is positive, where it is non-spontaneous. The endergonic metabolism is a reaction that consumes energy, and it is also known as anabolism, where it builds complex molecules from simple ones. Remember this one? It breaks down complex molecules into simpler ones. So this is the opposite of exergonic, where it builds up molecules. So for the example of endergonic metabolism is the production of new tissue. So we need the bricks to build a house. The bricks are from food digestion, and the bricks will then be built into the house, or you can say here a new tissue. So the standard free energy change is more than 0, which is a positive value, which also means it is non-spontaneous. So we can see here the reactants initially have low free energy, but when energy is absorbed, the product will have higher free energy, where the amount of energy required is more than 0. Examples of exergonic and endergonic reaction is for the first one is the exergonic reaction. This is when ATP undergoes hydrolysis with water to produce ADP plus Pi. The standard energy change is negative 30.5, which means it is a spontaneous reaction. For the endergonic reaction, the glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate, the standard energy change is positive 1.7 kgmol per mole, which means it is positive and it is non-spontaneous. So this is the example of a pyruvate kinase function, where the phosphoenol pyruvate will undergo hydrolysis with water to produce pyruvate and also and free phosphate. For the reaction here, it is negative 61.9 kilojoule per mole, which means it is a spontaneous reaction. Okay, for the next one is the catabolism versus anabolism. Catabolic pathways releases energy by breaking down complex molecules into simpler compounds. It is a degradation path that produces energy, such as cellular respiration. Glucose plus oxygen will provide carbon dioxide, water, and energy. So basically, it releases energy. For anabolic pathways, meanwhile, it consumes energy to build complex molecules from simpler ones. It is a construction path. Catabolic pathways are destruction path, but anabolic pathways is the construction path. It requires energy, ATP and ADH and ADPH, and the example of anabolic pathways is synthesis of large protein from amino acid building blocks. So from the equation here, carbon dioxide through photosynthesis, carbon dioxide will react with water, then it will be catalyzed through the sunlight energy to produce glucose and oxygen. Here are the comparison between anabolism and catabolism. So for anabolism, it produces it from precursor molecules such as amino acids, sugars, fatty acids. It will construct cell macromolecules such as proteins, polysaccharides, lipids, and nucleic acids. Meanwhile, for catabolism, from the more complex energy containing nutrients, such as carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, the catabolic pathways will produce energy depleted end products such as carbon dioxide, water, and ammonia. So you can see here, this one uses energy to construct, this one destroy complex nutrients to contain energy. Same thing here for the anabolic reactions. Glucose and glucose will produce glycogen with the help of energy. Glycerol and fatty acids will produce triglycerides with energy, and amino acids will produce protein with energy. For the catabolic pathways, glycogen will be converted into glucose, and then it will as well produce energy as well. Triglyceride will be simplified into glycerol and fatty acids and produces energy, and protein will be broken down into amino acids and produces energy. So both are constructive and destructive of each other due to the nature of the first law of thermodynamics, where energy cannot be destroyed and produced. It is just transferred and transformed. For this is a metabolic pathway, a simplified metabolic pathway. For the anabolic, small molecules 1, 2, 3, and 4 molecules are assembled into large ones with the help of energy. And for the catabolic pathways, large molecules 1, 2, 3, 4 molecules, 4 bonded molecules will be broken down into 4 small ones, and energy is released. It's interchangeable, and one is constructive and one is destructive. One uses energy and one releases energy. So for equilibrium and metabolism, the reactions in a closed system eventually reach equilibrium and then do no work. Cells are never in equilibrium, as they are an open system experiencing a constant flow of materials. A defining feature of life is that metabolism is never at equilibrium. A catabolic pathway in a cell releases free energy in a series of reactions, and closed and open hydroelectric systems can serve as analogies. If you forgot how hydroelectric works, the water from a pond, it needs to be situated higher than the turbines, will flow inside the turbines. The turbines will be moved by the flow of water and then generates energy. You can see here, the main point is that the head pond is higher and the water is always running. Here is 3 types of hydroelectric system. The first one is an isolated hydroelectric system.